Hi and welcome to the second devlog for my game I'm working on, Primary. A lot has changed since last time, so I thought I'd do a quick update. Last video I mentioned I'd work on either the colour changing system for the level or some enemies to shoot at, and I managed to do a little bit of both. Firstly, the enemies. They are a little basic at the moment, they just chase the player when in range, and one or two of them can shoot back. To do damage to enemies, you need to shoot the opposite colour of what they are. For instance, shooting a green enemy with green does no damage, but instead adds to their health. They can only be damaged by blue or red. I have added a few effects to help visualize damage. They glow brighter when shot by the wrong colour, and get darker when damaged. There is also a blood effect when shot, although currently it shows when shot by both the correct and incorrect colour. Speaking of shooting, I have added ammo amounts for each colour, with an effect visually on the character to show how much ammo you have. Although I would still like to add this information more easily readable with numbers to the interface, as it's often a bit hard to see exactly how much you have. Now that I'm using ammo, I need some ammo pickups. These spawn when enemies die, and can also be found in chests. I like how these turned out, the little bounce they do, and the effect they do when they're picked up looks nice. I have added a system that when shooting you build up a power meter. When this is full, you can use it to do an ultimate. This will damage all enemy types regardless of colour. Good for when there are a lot of enemies around. You can also use half the meter to spawn a bunch of random ammo. I have also made some chests. For the moment they just open when you walk in front of them and shoot out a bunch of ammo. Onto the colour picker. At the start of the level you can select the colour for the current level. For now it's just a visual, the lighting and a few materials throughout the level change, but in the future I'll make more things change in the level. This may change other things like the spawn rates of enemies, items, bosses, traps, etc. For instance, pick blue colour and there'll be more blue enemies. You can pick two different colours to get the in-between colour. Red and green to get yellow, blue and green to get cyan, and blue and red to get magenta. Yes, this applies to enemies too, so there are yellow, cyan and magenta enemies. These are even tougher to fight because you can only use the one colour to attack them with. Since magenta is made up of blue and red, it can only be damaged by green. Yes, you can press them all and it will go white, bringing with it white enemies. For the moment these just have lots of health, but my plan for them is that when they die, they will split into 2 to 6 smaller enemies of different colours, the colours you shot it with the least. Kind of like knocking the blue out of it, so you're left with green and red. What if you don't press any? The level goes almost completely dark, making for quite a different experience. Again, I'm not totally sure what to do with the dark enemies. My idea was that they absorb whatever colour you shoot them with. Shoot them the most with blue and they split into tinier blue enemies. There are lots of things I'd like to work on next, including, as I mentioned before, more changes to the level when picking a colour at the start of a level. I'd also need to make the player take damage. At the moment the enemies do no damage to the player. Actually nothing does any damage, so I'd like to add that in. Also I'd like to make the enemies a bit smarter, so that each colour has a different AI behaviour, and are a bit more unique to each other. But I think next I'll work more on the art side of things, including deciding on a visual style, theme, etc., even if it's for a small section of the level. This would include doing a little bit more on the story. I have a vague plot for now, but I'd like to flesh that out a little bit more. So this has been a quick rundown of what I've got done in the last couple of weeks. I hope you enjoyed this devlog. If you did, leave a comment below, and if you have any questions, ideas or suggestions for the game, feel free to leave them below as well.